RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki was back testifying before the Mass Casualty Commission in Halifax today. She was asked a series of questions about her competency and what she'll do with recommendations of the Commission. As we hear from the CBC's Catherine Tunney in Halifax, Lucki was unable to answer some of the questions.
Commissioner Brenda Lucki has promised to look into some of the issues that arose as part of the RCMP's response to the mass shooting back in 2020 and put into place any of those recommendations. But for those in the room, it's a little too late already. So Brenda Lucki has been taking questions about what has happened in the 20+ months since April of 2020. And, a lot of her response was that, either, the reviews and kind of after event look at have either not concluded or that she herself wasn't aware if they have been done and if they have been completed. And that kind of led to an interesting exchange from one of the lawyers who represents relatives of two of the victims whose bodies were not discovered until about 19 hours after. That's been really distressing, of course, for their family members. And he was asking, how are you going to fix that problem, this issue of containment and finding crime scenes, to put it kind of frankly. She honestly did not have that long of a response to give him.
You're sitting here today 2 years later. You don't know why Cobequid Court was unattended for 19 hours.
No,
you haven't taken any steps to look into this or delegated anyone to look into this, correct?
No, I haven't.
Now, that lawyer's questions also looked at, there have been other reports critical of the RCMP, critical, of its sexual abuse problem, critical of the response Moncton RCMP, that led to the tragic death of Mounties there, and that some of those recommendations have not been implemented. And he said that was really disheartening. Now, as I said off the top, Lucki has made a promise to implement the recommendations that do eventually come into this Mass Casualty Commission.
And of course, all of this is unfolding in the very province where this tragedy happened back in 2020. So what are people saying about the proceedings where you are?
Well, actually, earlier today, we had a chance to talk to Ryan Farrington. His mother and his stepfather are amongst the victims. He's been coming down almost every time that there is a person here testifying beforehand. And he said he has concerns about Commissioner Lucki's response today and her sincerity, saying that he's not convinced in her leadership and that she will in fact follow up on her promise to make changes out of this.
It's terrifying. I mean, it's been 2 years, but yes, it's also been, there's been other inquiries that have happened with the RCMP and recommendations that have not yet been implemented.
Now, he also said that he would like to hear a sincere apology to the families from Commissioner Lucki. But for now, as you could hear in that clip, some apprehension about what she will do and how the RCMP in general will respond to some of the recommendations coming out eventually from this Mass Casualty Commission.
That's the CBC's Catherine Tunney in Halifax.